So how good is the Cewpins 8 Turbo? This is a very interesting e-rig because I tried the first version of it back in 2023 when it came out, the Cewpins 8. And I, at the time, if you remember the video, called it the worst e-rig of 2023. Now, I do know that's a bit of a harsh title. It's hard to try them all. But I tried it and I just straight up did not like it. I thought it was terrible. But since then, they've come up with a couple new versions, a few improvements on it. So now they have the latest and greatest in their Cewpins 8 line, the Cewpins 8 Turbo. But is it actually good, or is it still the worst e-rig of the year? Now, first, I do want to say I appreciate that Cewpins is open to feedback. I consider myself an advocate for the consumer. I talk to a lot of these brands on the back end. I tell them how to improve their devices. I try stuff out and I say, hey, I didn't like this. If you change this, this, and that, I think it would be much better, and I think it would be a really popular device. Now, some of these companies email me back and they're like, you don't know what you're talking about. We can't do that. You suck. And some of them are like, hey, that's actually some pretty good feedback. I think if you enter the market with a product and you put it up against a bunch of other products that are already performing at a certain level, my expectations are that it should perform near that, not in a completely different category. So is it actually good? Well, this thing is much improved from the first versions, all right? I do want to say the price on it is a bit high. It's a little shocking, but maybe that comes down in the future. You see, where they want to get you on this is the atomizer replacement on this is very low cost. In fact, you don't change the whole chamber. You just change the little ceramic cup inside the chamber. Now you get this little metal housing for your chamber. And you just swap out this little ceramic cup that goes with it. And you get 2 of these in a pack, and it's cheaper than most atomizers that are out there. So interesting concept for long-term use. If you're going through a lot of chambers, you're just swapping out one of the components of it. I kind of like that. It seems silly when you swap out the whole chamber, all the electronic components, when some of that could still be reused. It's just the ceramic that got ruined. Now, in addition to the low-cost chamber replacement, they do give you 2 different carb caps for this, which I think is interesting. I haven't seen that in too many companies giving you variety in like components for it. There's some stuff giving you variety. But this guy, you get a very interesting spinner cap. Now, these are pretty cool because you don't have to sit there and fiddle with a joystick the whole time. But I will say all of the spinner caps that I've used, a few different companies, brands, they just get buildup on it and they stop working as good over time. Like, it doesn't spin as good on your 10th hit as it did on your first hit. So you just need to be a little bit more careful with cleaning it. But it really just takes a couple of seconds to clean your cap. So it's not that big of a deal, but something to note, especially if you're out on the go. You're not going to be cleaning it when you're away from home. You're not going to bring ISO with you. At least I don't. Now, if you want to see how this thing rips, definitely check out the Rumble video in the pinned comment and description. I'm going to post a video over there showing you how it rips. Look, if I do it here, they'll just delete me. Now, they give you 2 cap bases for it. One that is supposed to give you more vapor and one that is supposed to give you more airflow, which they say is better for flavor. Now, I'm on the side of, I think if you get more vapor, you're getting more flavor because there's more of the flavor in more of the vapor. You're not diluting it with a bunch of air. If you have a bunch of airflow, it's a little bit cooler and it can be easier to breathe in a bunch, but there's technically less flavor in a hit with more air in it. So maybe they should call one the airflow cap and one the vapor cap or something. Because I think, what do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Do you get more flavor when there's more vapor or when there's more air? But that's neither here or there. I just think the 2 cap options is better. I think I might like the airflow cap better. It just hits better. But I still swap back and forth. That's something that you can do. There's not a lot of companies that are giving you 2 options to say, you know what? Hey, try this one out. I think that's really going to come into play. Some people like lower temp, longer sessions. They might want that vapor cap so they're getting the most out of the vapor. They're not pulling as much air through at the lower temp. Somebody that likes the higher temp, shorter hits, they might like the airflow one because they're ripping it hard. They want a little bit of air in there because they already know that high temp is going to yield a bunch of vapor. So it's pretty cool that they include 2 caps. I do wish the companies had auto spinners. Like, it's cool that I can spin it and it provides good airflow. They actually give you a couple of terp pearls on here. I think the terp pearls are a little smaller than I'd like. I think one size up would be good. But I think the future of e-rig should just have a cap that sits on there and creates circular airflow. I don't want to have to spin it. I don't want to have to maintain that as much as this. So we'll see. I still think all of the e-rigs can improve in a couple of aspects. Now, this guy does come in 2 colors. I thought it was interesting. The first one, I liked the look of it because it was like red and black, right? You turn it on, it looks like Darth Vader or something. Now they got this little denim blue one, which this one looks cool. You got the little sleeve that slides off. Looks a little goofy without the sleeve, but I can swap back and forth between the blue or the black one. And then maybe they can come out with more cool things in the future. I like the look of these things, and the performance on this is much better than the OG version. Like the OG version did 25-second hits, and it didn't have a temperature sensor. So if you did a hit like shortly after you just did a previous one, it didn't know it was already hot, so that temperature would just run away to way higher than you thought it was gonna go. Short hits, too hot, wasn't good. This one, you have 12 temperature settings. You got a lot of options. You don't get the custom by degree like you get on some of these other devices, but you do have 12 settings. They're in a reasonable range. I think it's like 428 Fahrenheit to 626, and it goes up 18 degrees per click, which I think is about 10 Celsius. Now, this guy does offer 4 time modes. You can get 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and 2 minutes, which is way better than the 25 seconds on the old one. Now, I have to say, like, I think my perfect hit right now, I've been going between like 45 and 55 seconds on a lot of my concentrate hits. I set this one to a minute because I think that 30 seconds is too short, but I really feel like I'm physically ready for the end of my hit around the 55-second mark, and I'm like, dang, it's still going, and then a couple few seconds later, it just cuts off, so I'm like, all right. Not a huge deal, but it is nice to be able to fine-tune the time and temperature, especially on the high-end devices with a really high price tag. You have a little more expectation with the level of control that you get. Now, the interface on this is a little bit interesting. It's different than all of the other e-rigs. You see, I can single click it here to change through the temperatures. It goes 3 different colors. The blue is the lowest temperature. Blue with 1 line is the lowest. 2 is higher. 3, 4. It has 4 modes per color, essentially, so the 3 colors gives you 12. Now, I was using mine mostly on yellow 1. I think that blue 4, that yellow 1 or 2 is about the range that I would use. Some of the red ones were just too hot. But some people are loading up those chambers. They're putting something with a higher boiling point, like a ton of jam in there, and they're trying to crank that temperature. So it is nice to be able to go higher. Now, one thing that I think is a little silly is while I can single click it to change the temperature, I have to wait for it to shut off. It takes like a few seconds here before I can ping anything else. Now, like to change how much time you have on it, you double click it, right? It shows 2 purple lines. That's 30 seconds per line. That's the 60 seconds. But like if I just set my temperature to yellow 1 and then I wanted to double click it to change the time, I have to wait for it to turn off. Otherwise, I'm just like cycling through the temperatures. Sometimes I think I'm like checking the battery with 4 clicks and I just change the temperature 4 times. And it does have a stealth mode. You can triple click it and it just takes the light off the top. You still have the light on the side, so if you're trying to be super stealthy, you would want to cover that. But pretty interesting 1-button control. It's not too difficult if you know what you're using. If you only have this e-rig, it's going to be way easier. I have 100 e-rigs. They all have different button presses and combinations, so I'm always going to be confused on them. Like, I got to know how they work, but I have muscle memory from a bunch of other devices. It's just going to mess me up. But pretty easy. Once you select your temperature, you just hold that button down and it'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 lights, and then it'll start your session. This one does have haptic feedback. You get the vibrating on here. Oh, I didn't actually light it up all the way. 1, 2, 3, 4. I never screwed the chamber back on. I just set it on there. I was trying to do like a little demo hit. The chamber screws to the left, which is a little confusing. It's like lefty-tighty. It's a little weird, but once you get it, you get it. And I think that's so you don't unscrew the chamber housing when you're trying to take off the chamber. But yeah, I would just hold that button. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it's going to start to heat up and do the hit. It'll flash the color, and then it'll turn green when it's ready. Now, there's a couple other things about this I like. It does have the removable air path, which it seems a little weird, but it does just make it that much easier to clean. The ones on the Peak Pros, the ones on some of the other devices, you just kind of got to do weird stuff to get in there. So being able to pop that out is pretty nice. So I think this is an interesting approach, that rebuildable atomizer with the swappable cell. That's going to be cheap and easy for people to maintain the atomizer over time. I think for some people, that's the biggest turnoff, is they got to replace the atomizer. And some of them are not cheap. A 3D XL ain't low cost. You can just about get a whole new rig for the price of a 3D XL chamber. You can get 4 new ceramic cells for this for the cost of 1 3D XL chamber. So that's nice. I will say, though, I am a little shocked by the price on this. I'm shocked by the price on a lot of stuff, but I'm not in the factory making it, so I don't know what goes into it. Now, I also want to mention this video's taken a little longer to make than I planned because they sent me one of the production units a little while ago, and I tested it out, and it was just wrong. It was just way too hot. I emailed them. I'm like, hey, what's up with this? This thing is doing glowies again. What are we talking about? And they emailed me back and were like, oh, dude, we just found a problem with the very first batch we sent out. It was programmed wrong. So look, I'm helping these companies out the best that I can. Either way, this is a huge improvement on the Utilian 8 from a few years ago, the 2023 version. Definitely much better. They've included temperature sensors so they don't have that runaway heat. They have the controllable session time so you can actually get a decent hit. 25 seconds ain't it. The price on this is a bit higher than I would expect, but I didn't get any bad hits on this. So that's something to work with. That's not something I could say about the other device. I was only getting bad hits, it seemed like. Anyway, if you want to see how this rips, check out the Rumble video pinned in the comments and linked in the description. I got a video over there. Go sign up on Rumble on my page if you don't have an account. That helps me out. And don't miss the live streams. I go live every night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, Twitch, Rumble, other places. Come get lit with us. And if there's a device you want me to try out, leave me a comment. Look, I had a bunch of people leaving me comments on my old video. Try the new one, try the new one, try the new one. Hey, here we are.